Hello and welcome to Enquire to Choir. My name is Eva and I'm here to help you, fellow choir people. So, you're working with a choir. Choir is a group of people. How to position these people on the stage and how should your choir stand? This is not a trivial matter. There are standard practices and not so standard. And of course, it depends on many things, such as what kind of a choir you have. What is the choir culture like in your country? Does your choir have a choreography? And in what kind of a space the performance is taking place? But what I realized was the only reason why I knew when I started working as a choir conductor what the standard practice was because I had someone I can ask. And the only reason I had someone to ask was because I was already in a choir. I wanted you to have a place you can get this question answered, and this is why I'm making this video. I will go full disclaimer here at the very beginning. I think you can position your choir any way you like, as long it is the best practice for your choir sound. Conventions and standard practices are cool and all, but I don't think there is a police which is going to say you're standing and you're positioned in the wrong way. At least I hope. Give yourself some time to figure out what the best positioning for your choir members is. In general, when I think about this, these thoughts come to mind. The way you position your choir members, or should I say choir parts, voice parts, affects the choir sound. It can really help your choir sound better if you're very thoughtful of the positioning of your choir members. Think of your choir voice groups as colors and then connect them, arrange them logically. The colors represent the timbres of the voice group, the color of the sound. Number 3 is the most important one, I think. Make groups, not lines. It makes much more sense if the singers who are in the same voice group are standing in a group, not in a long line, because they have to be able to listen to each other and they have to correlate to each other's sounds. They need to be surrounded by their peers. Once you figure out the big picture, what is the best place for each voice group to stand, think of the micro picture. Think about the individual singers. Within each voice group, there are a lot of different places to be. Plus, the main point of the positioning of your choir members is for them to be able to see and watch the conductor while feeling comfortable. Of course, the criteria should also be the height of your singers. That goes without saying, but I'm saying it regardless. Once you've done all of this, once you find the best positioning, the best arrangement on the stage for your choir, it should remain the same every rehearsal and every performance. If it can, of course. It should stay the same because your choir needs to have the same parameters every time to be able to work on their choir sound. And finally, of course, if you can't be in the same arrangement you're always in at a particular venue, in a particular situation, you can change it, adapt. You can adapt. Everything I said here will make much more sense when I put it into pictures. So here we go. Let's say you have a mixed choir, a mixed quartet, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. In my choir culture, the convention is this one. As you can see, the female voices are in front, the male in the back. Altos are next to the sopranos, basses next to the tenors. Tenors are behind the sopranos and basses are behind altos. When you look at the timbre, the nature of the sound each voice group has, it makes much more sense. So let's put some color in this, shall we? Look at this. Sopranos and tenors have a lighter color. They're in the same color scheme. as are altos and basses. So when you look at the whole choir, it is very logical. Additionally, if you have a division in your voice groups, higher sopranos are soprano first and lower sopranos are soprano second, then the color scheme looks like this. This is the standard scheme in my choir culture. Again, if yours differs, that is okay. Just a suggestion. If you don't have a mixed choir, things are a little bit different. The standard practice for a female choir would be this one. You can see groups like the front half of the mixed choir. For male chorus, it's the same idea. Colors and timbres are the main criteria here. There may be a question you're thinking of right now. Why are you not imitating the mixed choir color scheme? Why is this scheme for a female chorus and not this one? Well, this is because of the criteria I mentioned. Groups, not lines. Hear me out. If you position your soprano second behind soprano first, every soprano second, well, almost every soprano second, is surrounded by two soprano seconds. But they're singing behind soprano firsts, and every soprano first hears is a mix of two soprano firsts next to them and three soprano seconds behind them. Think about the physics. When a singer sings, where does the sound go? In this case, every soprano first is bombarded by two different music lines that are very similar in timbre, which is confusing to say the least. This is not the biggest problem in a mixed choir because behind the sopranos stand the tenors, whose lines are much lower in pitch and therefore easier to distinguish and ignore for the ears. For the very same reason, I suggest in a mixed choir, if you can choose between fewer lines which are longer and more lines which are shorter, choose the latter. Think about what your choir singers hear and what is best for them. There is one more standard practice I have seen in my career, and this works for a smaller mixed choir. It looks like this. Every voice group is a group, and they're positioned so they create a full spectre from left to right. I personally don't work this way, but I don't see any problems with it. What I will say is, in this scheme, there are a lot of singers who are at the border, so you need really good and secure singers in these positions. Which takes me to my next point, the micro picture, the individual singers. Once you've established the positioning of each voice group, think about the singers who form each voice group. If some singers are less powerful, put them in the second row because their sound can be improved by being surrounded by their peers. If some singers are more confident, put them in the first row because they will not be afraid of being exposed. If you have a singer which is very prominent and very loud, do not put her or him at the end of the line. This is the worst you can do because the sound will not blend. And lastly, I repeat, it's not easy to be at the border of voice groups. Once you find the best arrangement, the best positioning of your choir, both the big picture and the micro picture, make sure it stays the same all of the time as possible. Every rehearsal, every performance. The reasoning behind this is thoroughly explained in another video I made called How to Improve Your Choir Sound. I will link it down below and here. I highly recommend you watch that video. I think it is very helpful and the feedback from it has been great. However, as I said, you can change your arrangement anytime, you can adapt, especially in certain circumstances. For example, the venue you're performing at is not supportive of the usual arrangement you have. Or another example, if the acoustics is very unforgiving. I'll give you an example I run into all the time. My mixed choir regularly has to perform in a venue that has a large curtain behind where the basses should stand. That curtain absorbs every low frequency there is. So the basses can be the loudest they can be, but I will not hear them, neither will the audience. All you can hear is the female chorus, which is not the point of a mixed one. In this case, what I do is this. As you can see, I pull them out from the choir as a group, and that works. Again, I don't do this often, just when I really have to. Because sometimes the criteria is not to blend all the choir sound the best way you can. Sometimes you really can't hear a group within the choir, so make it work. The question I often get is, can you change the arrangement during the performance? Well, if you have a choreography, that's a given, but don't change the arrangement within the same song. Between the songs, you can do it, and that actually can be very powerful and very engaging to the audience. I've been on some concerts where a choir changes the formation for every song, and it's very attractive to the audience. But if you know better, you know that they're doing that to improve their choir sound. Bear in mind, lower frequencies, lower tones have a longer wavelength. So for our ears to be able to distinguish lower frequencies and higher frequencies, it's a different thing. Yeah, I know, physics. Useful. Who would have taught? And that is it. I really hope this video was helpful to you. Do you agree with this reasoning? Is this a standard practice in your choir culture? If it's not, if you have a different point of view, if you disagree or you agree, let me know down in the comment section. I would be happy to learn something new. If you wish to talk to me, you can email me or find me on Facebook. If you wish to see more from Enquire to Choir, you can subscribe and check out all of the other videos here. If you like the video, you can like it, and that is it. Conduct well, conductors, and I'll see you next time. Bye!